Hi folks, CodeTutor here and my name is Anil Deshpande. In the previous video, you understood why CI/CD actually exists, what is the need for it, and depending upon how you operate, why CI/CD can actually might become very critical for operational excellence. But we have not yet understood what actually CI/CD contains. In this video, we will try to understand that part first. To understand that, we have to understand what actually happens inside a CI/CD system. Let's start with the end result first. That is to basically create working application build. Most of the times. Sometimes it might be different, but in a classical sense, that's the end goal of any CI/CD build system. To make it little bit intuitive, I am going to use a meal preparation analogy. There are a lot of similarities between preparing a meal which contains a lot of different components and building a application. Using this particular analogy, we will try to understand and make sense of CI/CD. You can think of pipeline or a workflow as a recipe. What does recipe defines? It contains what should happen in what order and what are the rules of preparing a dish. In a very similar way, a CI/CD pipeline also defines what steps to run, in what sequence, and under what conditions. Just like a recipe, the pipeline does not cook anything by itself. It only describes how the cooking should happen. Now, inside each recipe, you have multiple courses like starter, soup, main course, and dessert. In the same way, in CI/CD, things are called as jobs. And these jobs are like checkout, build, test, and deploy. And each job must complete successfully before moving forward. If the course fails, then the meal stops. I mean, meal doesn't really stop, but you might not really enjoy the complete experience of the meal. In the same way, if one particular job fails in a CI/CD pipeline, the whole CI/CD pipeline stops. If the checkout fails, build can't start. If the build fails, test job can't be started. And just like in each course, there are multiple dishes that have to be prepared. You need to have cooking instructions on how to prepare each of those course meals. It could be something like chop vegetables, heat oil, which spices to be added in what proportions, maybe stir for 5 minutes. In CI/CD, steps are smallest unit of work. The work could be run the Gradle, execute the tests, upload the artifacts, sign the build. Steps are executed in a particular order. They are very explicit and easy to understand why we are doing it. This is where the actual work happens. You can have a recipe, you can decide the course, and you can even have cooking instructions. But you need a place to do all of this. And that happens in a kitchen. In CI/CD world, this is called as runner. A runner is a machine that executes the pipeline. It could be a cloud virtual machine, a container that is a Docker container, or even physical machine. Just like in case of kitchens that have different equipments, runners can also be different with different OSs, tools, and limits. The recipe stays the same, but the kitchen can be different or needs to be different. For example, if you are building a iOS application, you need a Mac machine. You can't do it on a Windows machine. That's a typical example. You might have kitchen, but then you need to flush it with proper appliances and utensils so that you can actually cook something in that particular kitchen. Things like stove, oven, mixer, knife. In CI/CD, these are called as actions or plugins. Actions actually perform the specific tasks. They are reusable and they save you from reinventing the common logic. For example, check out the code. There is a standard plugin which you will use again and again every time in all different types of CI/CD. You have to cache the dependencies, upload the artifacts. You don't have to write the complicated logic. Think of it like a reusable function that you will be using in CI/CD pipeline again and again, depending upon what you want to do. So just like you don't build stove every time you cook, you don't write everything from scratch in CI/CD. You just use certain actions. And just like every good dish has secret spices. In CI/CD, these secrets are basically environment variables. What do I mean by that? Examples are key store passwords, API keys, signing credentials, and why these have to be kept secret? Because if anybody gets access to them, then you lose the control over your application. So secrets or environment variables, they are never hard coded and they are securely injected at the runtime. And then finally, once you do all this cooking, you have to plate the dishes. And that dish is now ready to be served. In CI/CD, these are called as artifacts. These are nothing but your APKs, AABs, test reports, logs, all those things. Artifacts are basically outputs of the pipeline. They are passed to quality assurance teams, users, and deployment teams. It helps you to maintain traceability and versioning of the application builds. This is what the entire pipeline is working towards at the end of the day, to create artifacts. CI/CD is just a structured way to reliably cook same dish every time. I think enough of the analogy, but now you should get a sense of what actually CI/CD contains. You might be wondering, these jargons that we have come across, are they common across different CI/CD tools? Not always, but there are almost similar terminologies across different CI/CD tools. This table basically highlights how the same things are called by different names across different CI/CD tools like GitHub Actions, GitLab, CircleCI, Azure Pipelines. They use different words, but they all do the same thing. Names differ, mechanics don't. Once you map the terms, every CI/CD system feels similar. As you can see, there are already quite a number of CI/CD tools which you can use. GitHub Actions, Jenkins, GitLab, CircleCI, and many more. This table highlights some of the basic features that these CI/CD tools provide. I will be using GitHub Actions in this series to demonstrate how to write CI/CD for Android application. The main reason is it is very easy and almost all developers are on GitHub and they know how to work with GitHub. And GitHub Actions are very well integrated with GitHub. And I will also be providing you a link to an article from CodeTutor Hub, which contains more details about all these CI/CD tools, their capabilities and limitations, and when to use what. Please do check out that. So stay tuned for the next video. In the next video, we will talk about how to get started with CI/CD. Take care. That brings us to the end of this particular video. Don't forget to like, comment, share the video and subscribe to the channel. Take care. Bye.